Holy crap. I just turned it back off immediately. This is not a good idea. Now, at first glance, it might look like we've taken a perfectly normal electric skateboard and made it strictly worse. Today we're asking the question, can we build an electric skateboard out of an electric skateboard? But really we're asking, can I ride my robot? When we started this YouTube channel, we were building a lot of small robots. And that was mainly because I was kind of a baby at brushless motor control design, so it made sense to start small. But here's an exercise for the viewer. Do you have a Roomba? You should jump on that thing and see how it feels to ride. Go on, don't be scared. Ride it around your house. Step on your Roomba. It's not gonna break, trust me. They want you to ride the Roomba.
Who's they?
Roomba.
Oh.
For the 2 or 3 of you who are not a small animal or perhaps a human baby, you probably see the problem here. The robot's too small. There's probably like 30 or 40 watt motors inside of that robot, and that's not enough to drive around a human being. We know our motor controller, the one that ran the Etch-a-Sketch, could easily control this robot, but skateboard motors are many times more powerful than that.
Definitely, this thing zooms. There's no way our axis can power the board like this fast, because this is almost enough to throw me off the board.
In fact, it's enough to throw all 3 of us off the board. And that means it will be many times more impressive to me if our little tiny circuit board can control them. Okay, enough of that. We're gonna take it apart now. Here are the major parts of a skateboard. You definitely have motors, everyone knows that. You also have this thing, that's called an ESC, which is in charge of processing the motor controls. And we have the battery, this one's a chonky boy, and you have a remote that sends control signals to the board. If I had this same exact setup on a robot arm, I don't think it'd be an argument to say it's considered a robot.
This is actually easy.
We can explain commutation tables to the YouTube channel.
You guys ready to learn about commutation?
Go. Gun it. Gun it. As fast as possible. To get this skateboard working, we have to replace all of what the ESC is doing. It would help to know that ESC stands for electric spellcasting.
No, I'm just kidding. It's electric speed control. But we are sending these signals, or spells, to the motor. And if we send the wrong ones, it does get angry.
No, it didn't love that.
So how do we make it not angry? Well, if you had X-ray vision or perhaps a screwdriver, you could look inside a motor and see a bunch of copper and a bunch of magnets. Now the magnets in this case are attached to the rubber part of the skateboard wheel, and if we can move the magnetic field around, we can be pretty sure that the motor's gonna move, unless there's an obstruction. Sometimes you can blindly trust your system. That's called open loop. 3D printers do that.
Open loop is like trying to drive a car blindfolded.
This is way too dangerous.
So anyways, long story short, we need a way to tell, is the motor actually doing what we think it's doing? And if it's not, then we can smartly decide what to do. Luckily for us, this motor has a sensor for this. They're really tiny and they're really cheap, and they're called Hall's sensors. And they detect magnets, so now we can tell how fast the magnets are spinning. And very roughly, we can also tell where they're at. Now I'm pretty dramatically simplifying this, and if you want to know a lot more, check out Jansen Lee's series on brushless motor controls. Truly just phenomenal videos. In the meantime, we can celebrate because now the motors are not angry. Yay. But
here's the problem. This animation, it's a little bit simplified.
If we go like 360 degrees in the electrical angle, that will move the motor 1 pole pair forward, and it clicks.
How many pole pairs are there?
We don't know, and we're trying to count them.
Now, I'm not that great at math, but I've had to find out how many pole pairs are in a magnet a bajillion times. So here are some tips for finding the pole pairs in a BLDC motor. Step 1, if you can just see the magnets, just count them. That's the easiest way. 2, if you can't see the magnets, try powering 2 of the phases and then counting the clicks while you spin the motor around. Each click will be 1 pole pair.
All right, and I have a great tool for this.
all right, that looks pretty good. Nice. 1, 2.
Step 3. Sometimes you can't feel the clicks very well. Then you'll have to guess a couple times and use math to calculate the real number.
360, 2 pi radian, 10, 11, 10 rotations, 11 spins.
Wait a second.
I'm really confused now.
As a last resort, You could learn how to read and try checking the datasheet if you have one, but I've never had to resort to something like that. This time we just counted the clicks.
7, 8, 9, 10.
And just like that, we figured out Blue's Clues. Don't ask me to explain the math. I don't really know what's happening here.
Now we understand the motors. We can read the Hall effect sensors, translate them into our commutation table, and properly spin the motor with closed loop feedback. And we could use that motor to spin anything.
Now we can build a lot more stuff.
And look at that, before I was even done explaining stuff to you guys, Jesse has already installed a skateboard to coffee grinder attachment that he found on the internet.
Alright, the coffee grinder attached to a skateboard wheel.
Yeah,
You seem tickled about this.
I am.
I mean, we might as well do this whole thing, yeah.
So now we can finally start talking about finer controls. If you can do these three things, you can basically control any type of robot, because pretty much every robot needs at least one of these three. And to make sure that our board is capable of making as many types of robots as possible, we're going to run some demos on this for y'all. This coffee grinder is an example of torque control. Now it's not true like current control, like closed loop torque control, but no matter what load is applied to the motor or what position the motor is in, basically the same power is going to be applied to the motor.
All right, it's done.
Yep, that's hilarious.
This control scheme is what you would see on most electric skateboards. Now give me a second to make a remote controller and I'll show you some other ways. Oh, you look at that, you see that wheel over there?
Spin this thing. Spin that thing.
Oh. Now picture this. You want to follow a pancake recipe that specifically calls for a mixing speed of 48.3 radians per second, but you can't afford the $800 stand mixer you need to make that batter. What better way to make your pancake batter mix than taking apart an electric skateboard, hacking it into a kitchen robot that has closed loop velocity control, and then use your own robot whisker? Look at that. Before I could even finish explaining how cool the robot would be, Jesse has already found a skateboard to whisk adapter and 3D printed it. Now, unlike torque control, where we're just changing the power level and making sure that the commutation's working correctly, this time we're using velocity control. We're constantly telling the motor to increase or decrease the power sent to the motor based on how fast it's spinning. And that works really well for a whisking robot, because as it increases in load, it notices that the motor is going too slow and then speeds back up to match your set point. Is the perfect application.
Wait, did you guys add the oil?
Oil? Ooh.
Now before we get to this next demo, this was not safe. I did not plan this. I do not condone this. Someone, I'm not going to say who, has already finished installing a meat cleaver to skateboard adapter that we got from Home Depot.
These glasses are really foggy, so I can't see how bad of an idea this is.
You should not do this at home. We should not have done this in our home.
Jesse, you gotta get out of there, dude. You can't, you gotta be at like another. Okay.
Are you tired of cutting things with sharp knives? That's kind of dangerous. Instead, you should...
Holy crap. Oh, man. Oh, yeah, that's... What is our purpose here? What are we trying to accomplish? No. Alright, that's enough. I don't even want to put that on all day.
Position control. Instead of just controlling speed or torque, we're going to stack a third controller onto this bad boy. And then now we look at the position where we are and where we want to be. And if we're not in the right position, we tell the speed controller to speed up in that direction.
Alright, that's enough for tonight.
Again, don't do it with a knife. Thank you. Throughout the process of testing these demos with the skateboard, we realized, hey, this has like a lot of torque.
Wait, that's a lot of torque.
Potentially, we noticed that the skateboard might have enough torque to be a skateboard again.
I don't think I could stop that with my hand. I think that could have driven us, like, I think we could actually drive ourselves with a skateboard.
But to ride the skateboard, we would have to take it apart, figure out the Hall effect sensors, configure the commutation table, probably do some demos on position control.
What a nerd. And that guy, always yapping. You know what is less boring? Sponsor segments, because they never give me a script, so I just put their logo on the screen and I can talk about whatever I want, like showing you every single dog in Colorado. Isn't that this is amazing.
I mean, I'm also going to show you some PCB stuff. They come in every size, shape, color you want, and up to 64 layers. Hello, nice to meet you. Here, have a pup cup. Curly dog, soft dog. Doggone good PCB assemblies. You know what SMD stands for? Surface mount devices. Or so many dogs. Isn't that great? Bandana dog. Thanks to PCBWAY for supporting every flavor of robot, but also making a service that I can easily recommend to anyone trying to add PCBs to their projects. Okay, one more dog, and then we're getting back to the video.
Yeah, while y'all were looking at dogs, I already installed a skateboard to battery adapter from Home Depot.
What should we be looking out for right now on this demo?
Man, I don't know. It might explode. It might spin both of the motors. Let's see how it do.
Honestly, this is going way smoother than I thought it would.
Neat.
But before we take this robot into the real world and ride it around, we have one more thing to do on the test bench. Explode it. Explode-erode it. Explosion. We're gonna explode the board, and we're gonna do our best to get it on camera.
Wait, I'm gonna slow.
Oh, there it goes. There it goes. Yeah.
Oh,
Oh, there it goes.
Oh, there it goes.
Yeah, dude.
That was nice.
Riveting.
Yeah.
Anyways, we can see that the motorgo axis can handle over 100 watts on each channel and not even break a sweat. That's more than enough to ride a skateboard. So let's switch out this axis for one that's not broken, and we'll be ready for our final test.
Nice. Really smooth control.
Whoa!
All right, I'm gonna try to get on the board. Wait, this is actually like. Wait, that's crazy.
Out of my kitchen floor. This feels like the normal skateboard, actually. Like, I can accelerate. I thought this was gonna be terrible, but it's not bad at all. That's so, dude. Stand on it. Get on the skateboard. Try it out. Isn't that pretty good?
Oh.
So the axis could actually make a skateboard.
Wait.
And it actually works.
It's kind of hard to describe this emotion because we've been designing circuit boards since like 2023, like when we started this channel, and it was all in an effort to get more people interested in doing robotics. And the way that we did that was through a lot of, you know, small robots, toy level designs. But now we're finally getting to something that we can like jump on top of and ride. That is insane.
Wait, it was totally gonna do it. Alright, let's see if we can do it again.
Finally testing our circuit boards here with my friends and realizing that the same board that we built as a prototype to an Etch-a-Sketch robot is actually capable of so much more than I thought. We're building like my childhood dream. This is amazing.
Yes! Yes! Yes!
Hey, so this video was a ton of fun to make. We do sell the motorgo axis. That's the board that you saw in the video. It's not perfect, but we do have a Discord community of people that are willing to help you build robots with it, and we've been having a lot of fun with it. And we also play games on Wednesdays. Also, thanks to our Patreon members, there's the names that are flying around here. Our editor, yeah, you're gonna make their names fly around? Yeah, so thank you guys. Y'all are the people that make the channel keep running, so that's amazing. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you later.